So Cwicly released a new mega menu builder, and I really want to try my hands on it to see how efficient and how powerful the mega menu builder is. So to do that, we are going to use a real world scenario. That is, we're going to pick a real world website and use Cwicly's mega menu builder to rebuild that menu that we are going to look at. So the menu that we're going to try and build is what we do have on Figma. So this is Figma's menu. If you haven't seen Figma's menu before, so it has like a bit of interaction over here, like hover and all of these things. So it's pretty handy and nice. And I have rebuilt it using the new Cwicly mega menu, and I want to show you how it looks. All right, so let's go over here. So this is what I have built out. So you can see that it is very similar to what Figma do have on their own website. We do have all the interactions, probably not all, but we do have most of the interactions over here, like the hover and the underline that you do see. We do have all of it over here, and we are using Cwicly to do everything that you do see in this example. So I'm going to take you into the builder, and I'm going to show you how to build this same header using Cwicly's new mega menu builder. All right, so let's go into our back end. So this is our header. So this is what we've created, and I showed you. We are going to delete everything from here, and we are going to start afresh. All right. So let's remove everything. So now we don't have any header at all. So if I go to the front end and I refresh, consider our header is totally gone. All right, we're going to start from scratch. Okay, so we do have this. We're going to remove it later. But the first thing that I did was to add a section. So we added a section. I need to remove this. So within that section, we do have an image on the left-hand side and the navigation on the right-hand side. So that is what we're going to do first. So I'm going to add an image, and then the image, I'm going to go into my primary, and I'm going to click on set image, and I'm going to choose this Figma image that we do have. All right, that is done. The next thing that I want to do is to add our navigation. So the navigation that we're going to add, I'm going to click on here and then type in nav. We are going to click on this very one over here that says nav. So when you click on it, it's going to ask you a few things, like you want to add a preset nav, or you want to add a blank nav. We want to do our own thing, so we're going to click on blank nav. Maybe it won't work in the first time, just click on it again. So that is good. So now we have done the most important thing, that is put in the items that we do need. The next thing that we are going to do is do a bit of styling and laying out the items that we do have. All right, so our section is still selected. We are going to come here and click on design. When you click on design, we are going to go into our layout. And then in our layout, we want to make sure that we click on flex, and then we make this into a row. All right, and then we align it into the center. As you can see, everything came into the center. And then we come back, and then we are going to justify by spacing between for the two items that we do have. All right, that is good. And after that, we don't have to add any columns or anything like that, because we have space in between the two items. That is good. Now, since our section is still selected, let's go back into the settings and then go to margin and padding. For margin and padding, we want to make sure that our tab, let's give everything 24, and that should be good. We can give 24, or we can give whatever number that we want. If we want to make this specific, we can give this one 48 and give this one also 48 pixels. And that is pretty good. Okay, so we have laid out our items, we added our margin and everything like that. The next thing that we are going to work on is our very navigation. So you see that when I clicked on it, we do see some of the items that they've added. So we're going to just click and then take it away. All right, we're going to click on, we do have the nav, which is the main wrapper. And then we have the nav item, which is the items that are needed in the nav. So we're going to click on the nav items, and then we are going to go into layout. We want to make sure that we do have some space in between here. So in the layout, we're going to make sure that this is in the row. When you click on row, and then we're going to center it like that. And then we don't have to choose whether space between or anything, because we're going to give it a column gap. So let's give a column gap of, let's say, 36 pixels. And that is pretty good. So 36 pixels is going to work out for us in terms of what we really want to do. All right, so the next thing that we have to do is to add the items that we do need when it comes to the menu. Okay, so we might need to go back into our Figma. So we can see that we do have product and enterprise, pricing, resources, community, login, and then we do have this button. Okay, so this product and resource, product and community looks the same. Enterprise and resources looks the same. Pricing and login also look the same. So we're going to start with product first. So product. So let's go back into our header, and then we're going to start with this. So this one's already here. If we want, we can delete it and start adding by ourselves. But the first thing that we are using is the nav drop down. What the nav drop down gives you is that it gives you the opportunity for you to add your very own styling. So if you want to add like a picture inside, the nav drop down gives you the opportunity to do that. So that has been selected. I'm going to go into my primary. So in my primary, you can see that there's a name here. We'll be able to replace it. So this one is called product, and that is done. So we do have product, as you can see over there. And the next thing that we need to do is to start adding the content that we do need. For us to be able to add the content that we need, if let's say we go in here and then we click on column, consider you cannot add column over here. It is not possible at the moment. So we have to toggle on an option to make it possible for us to add the items that we do need. And for you to do that, you just click on custom content. So when you click on custom content, it will turn this one into more like a wrapper. So product is now a wrapper that can hold items within it. So let's go back into Figma and see what we do need. We want, let's say, a grid of 2. So 2 grid columns. So let's go back into our header, and then we're going to add a column over here. So you see the column, click on column. Okay, this should work. All right, so make sure that you have selected a product and then click on that and it should work. All right, so we need a 2 grid column. We already have one here, so we are not going to stress ourselves and recreate it. So I'm going to just click on that, and that is good. You might not see anything now, but when we start putting in content, you are going to see the 2 grid columns. All right, so in here, when we go back into Figma, let me pull this up. When you go back into Figma, you can see that we do have items, and that is good. All right, so let's add our very first item. Let's click on the first column in here, and we're going to add a header item. And then for this header item, we are going to go into styling. And then let's put the name here as Figma. And that is good. So what we are going to do is, when you go back in here, what I did was to wrap these 2 items together. So these 2 items, I'm going to wrap it in a div. So I'm going to come over here and then right click it and then go to wrap and then say div. So I wrap it in a div, and I'm also going to add a paragraph into it. So we do have the header and the paragraph. All right, so the paragraph text says what? An all-in-one design platform. So we are just going to go in here and then just type in an all-in-one design platform. I hope that is the right word. Yeah, an all-in-one design platform. Okay, that is good. We can put like the dash if you want to put like, you want to really make it specific. All right, that is good. And this should be like 14 pixels. So we are going to just give it a 14 pixels. If you're using RAM, you can also use RAM. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, so this one should be 18 pixels. And that is good. All right, so we do have these 2 items in here. Let's click on our div, and then we are going to make sure that it is in a column form. It's to the left-hand side. And also we do have a row gap of 5 pixels. And that is good. All right, so back into our the main wrapper column, we are going to add the next thing, which is an image. So let me click on image. So we do have this image. Don't worry about whatever is happening when we put an image in. It's going to be okay. All right, so within this image, I'm going to open the developers panel so that we can have a link to the image. All right, let me just click on here. You can see that this is the image and that is a link. I am going to just copy the link and then go into my header, and then over here you see URL. I'm going to just paste in the image, and that is pretty good. All right, and let's go back into size. I will go back here and look for the size of the image. Okay, so the size is 240 pixels. All right, so over here you can see that I already selected the size. I can just put in 240 pixels for that. All right, going back over here, I want to see there is like some border around it. So padding is 20. It's 22 pixels. Okay, so on here, I'm going to click on the main wrapper column, and then I'm going to go to margin and padding, and then I'm going to give this one a padding of 22 pixels, and that is pretty good. So we are done with that. Okay, we can do the same thing for the right hand side too. Since we're already here, just give it 22 pixels for that. That is good. Okay, so we're doing it. Okay, so the next thing is these items that we do have here. So for this, I'm going to wrap this in a div. So let's go back over here. For me to even continue doing this, sorry. All right, so this, as you can see, when you go back into Figma, and then let's move away from the developers panel. When you hover on it, you can see that there is like a nice hover effect going on when you hover on it. So what I am going to do is I'm going to apply the hover on this, and then I'm going to link it to all the other items that need the hover. For me to do that, I am just going to go in here. So this is selected, right? So let's give it a class name. Let's call it Figma class. That is good. So I'm going to copy the code that we need for this. All right, so still Figma is selected. Let's go into advanced. And then in here, I'm just going to paste in the code, and I'm going to explain the code to you. So when you hover on it, when it goes up, I'm just going to save it, right? And I'm going to go into the front end and see what is really happening. All right, I'll fix it, but let me show you what we do need over here. So I'm going to delete everything from here. Okay, so we do have the block class, making sure that this one is the position is relative, the display is inline, the cursor is pointer, because these are not links. If these were like links, we wouldn't need to make them pointers, but these are not links, so we want to make sure that when we point on them, they turn into what we need them to turn into. All right, and then we come over here, we do have the block class, and then we do have this after. I know there's an after here that you can use, but this one was simpler to just put in the code. All right, so the after here, the content is none, the position is absolute, left is 0, bottom is -3, width is 100%, and then the height is 3 pixels. Background color is black, and we are adding a bit of animation over here so that when we hover, it pulls up. And then you can also see that there's a translation, and then the opacity is 1. So that is all that the code is doing. It's just creating an after underline for the item that we do have over here. We're going to add more, and then after that, we're going to see what happens. All right, so for us to duplicate this very one, I'm going to click on this link. And then when I click on the link, I'm just going to come back over here and then just duplicate it. So this has been duplicated. I'm going to take it out of the div, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to wrap it in a bigger div. All right, so this, you can see that when you duplicate it, it adds this class to it. So that is fine. Now let's unlink this. We don't really have to have that anymore. Okay, so where is that one? So this is here. Our image is here. So let's put this one underneath the image, and that is fine. Okay, so this one, when we go back into Figma, So we do have design, prototyping, design systems, and download. So design, prototyping, design systems. So this is called design. And going back, open here, we can keep duplicating this very first one. So let's just do this and just duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. And then we can just drag it down here, and then down here. Okay, so design, I think the next one is design. We do have design systems. All right, let's go back and make sure we know. Okay, design, prototyping, design system, and downloads. Okay, so this very one should come down here, and then this one should be prototyping, and then downloads. All right, and that is good. Okay, let's click on this the div that's run here, and then go into design and go into layout. Make sure that everything is pointed down and then to the left, and everything is centered like that. And then we are just going to give it a row gap of 20 pixels. All right, there's our main column. For the main column, we are going to make sure that we do have also a row gap of, let's say, 30 pixels. But let's make sure that our thin is in the column, and everything should be good. All right, so 30 pixels, and that is fine. So when you hover, you should see, I don't know why it is putting it on top rather than below. I'm going to go back into our website here and then just make sure that things are working as they should. All right, so it is working good. Everything is working good. So we're almost done with the first part of it. Okay, go back into our header. And the next thing that we're going to do is when you go back into Figma, consider this one is repeated on the right hand side. So we're just going to duplicate whatever that we do have here. We're going to bring it over here. All right, so in the header, I'm going to make sure that this link is removed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, right? And then I'm going to move this one into this column. I'm going to duplicate that, move this one into that column. I'm going to duplicate this one too. And then move this one into this column. All right, that is good. And let's click on this column too, and then make sure that our row gap is 30 pixels, and make sure that it is in a column, and put this one to the left and make center like that. Okay, I think everything is good. And the only thing that I think we need to do is to take this picture out and put this on top of it. I think that is it. And just make sure that we do have the right words. Okay, online whiteboarding, strategic planning, online whiteboarding. So click here, say online whiteboarding. The next one is strategic planning. And I think this is something called, okay, team meetings and diagramming. All right, so come over here, call this one team meetings, and then diagramming. All right, we do have everything that we do need. Change this one to fake jam. I think it's all what do we have here? An online whiteboard for teams. Okay, so let's say online whiteboard for teams. I think that is all that we do need, and we can save it. I think the next thing that we do need to is to make sure that we do have the border around it. Okay, so let's go back into, so this is our main wrapper column. What I'm going to do is go into the border, then make sure that this is solid. I'm going to make this one 3 pixels like that, and that should be good. And then I'm going to come here and select this very one, the one on the left hand side. Make this one also solid, and then make sure that it is 0 all around. And I'm going to unlink it, and to the right hand side, I'm going to make sure that this is 3 pixels. and that should be good. Okay, so let's hover. We do have this, and we just need an image. So I'm gonna just do like this. Open developers panel. Open this very one. Come in here. I just need a link. The link. Okay, I'm just gonna open this. I just need to copy the link here. Close it. Go back into our design and click on this. Go into primary. Go into source. Click here and then just paste this in there, and voila, look at that, we just did it. Okay, let's close developers panel and let's see. This is what we do have, and that is good. All right, let's save what we do see over here, and then we can preview it in the front end so we can see how everything is going. Okay, so this is what they have. This is our design. Reload and come over here, and we do have the same thing. Look at that. By just using Cwicly's mega menu builder, we've been able to create the very first part of Figma's. Then, so over, and the next thing that we need to work on is this. But I want to go back and do some quality things that I might want you to find. Okay, so over here, I'm going to make sure that we go to advanced and remove this code. Because we duplicate this, it comes with the code. The next thing that we want to do, since the code has been removed, I'm going to click here and then add the Figma class. So Figma class, so that when we hover, we can also get that same effect. Okay, we also have to come here. Okay, we need to remove this. Come here, we need to remove this too. Because we duplicated it without using the link, that is why this issue is happening. But the best thing is to just remove the link, and that should be fine. All right, so it looks like everything is fine now. We don't have to do much. Okay, so the next thing that we do have on Figma is the enterprise thing. This one doesn't have too much design. So it means that we can also duplicate something. We can just duplicate one of these and put it over there. So what we are going to do is, you can see that our product is selected. Just right click on it and then duplicate it. So after duplicating it, we're just going to go into primary and then change the name into enterprise. And that is fine. And when you do enterprise, you want to come back again, remove everything. So we just need one, we just need this div. So we're going to hold the div and drag it up. But sometimes it happens. I don't really know why. It doesn't allow you to like move things out. Let's click on that and then move it back. We do need this very one, right? It says no. Okay, so it's working now. So I'm going to remove this. I don't know whether that is a bug or what. I will try and report that to the team. So let me just put it. All right, it said no. It said no. Okay, so let me just select this like that and put this here. Let's try again and drag it back into it. Okay, it's working now. Perfect. Okay, so that is fine. I don't really know why it was doing that. Okay, so that being done, as you can see, when I hover, it is doing like whatever that it wants, but it is working. So as long as it's working, that is what is needed. I might have to refresh to see what is really happening with that. Okay, so the div is selected, and I'm going to go into design, go into margin and pattern, and over here, let's give this one 25 pixels, just like we did on the other column. And then we want to remove this one. So let's right click and delete. So we just need 3 of that, and that is it. Let's go back into Figma and find out what text is. Overview, customer stories, contact sales. All right, so this one is overview, customer stories, and then contact sales. We just need to remove everything from here. This one too. Okay, that one doesn't have it. This one also has this one, so remove that. This class is what has the hover animation, if you remember. So this class, this one is what has the hover animation. So when we apply that class as probably like a combo class, to the class that we do have already, it works perfectly. So just save that and good. If we go into, we need to put a border on it. So let's go back into design and go into border and make this one solid. If you want to change your color, you can just change your color over here, but make sure that this is 3 pixels and that is it. Okay, it should work fine. We can preview it in the front. Enterprise, consider everything is working fine. Animation works good. Whatever that you want, and that is pretty good. All right, the next thing that we do have is pricing. So you can see this is what pricing is. So for you to do pricing, you need to add, something called a nav link. If it doesn't have any drop down, you use the nav link to create that. So that is more like just a normal link text that you can add to your items. Okay, so this nav link is selected. If you don't have the nav link, you can just go over here and tap in the link, and then you can see the nav link pops up. So that is what we are doing. So we already have ours over here, so we don't have to do like re-add it. So nav link, you can just come here, double click, and then type in. I think that one is pricing. Let me make sure it is pricing. All right, it is pricing. All right, so you can see that when you hover on it too, it has like the same animation. We are not going to use the hover animation that we do have in Cwicly. The one that we created is what we're going to use. And for you to add that, we are using the class called Figma class. So we just have to type that and add that as a combo class or pseudo class, whatever you want to call that. So it's added. I mean that it is going to work when we go into the front end. Let us not preview it too much time. All right, so the next thing that we do say is similar to enterprise. So I'm going to duplicate enterprise and then just change the text. All right, back in the header, click on enterprise and then just duplicate enterprise, then bring it down. Okay, in here we do have these items. All right, so blog, template, plugins, and widget. So let's type in those first. So when they type in enterprise, let's change the name. What is that name over here? To resources. So come in here, say resources. All right, and blog, I think blog template. So blog, blogs, templates, say plugin, and widgets. All right, so that is good. And the last 3 is best practices, resource library, and help center. All right, so we're just going to duplicate this. Okay, so we say best practices. So best practices. So resource library. I think it's help center, right? Let me just go check it once more. Okay, yeah, help center, resource library, and best practices. All right, so that is that. I just have to remove some of the, okay, everything looks good, right? Perfect. All right, so we've done that too, and that works. Let me just refresh this and make sure this is working. This is not us. Refresh this. All right, everything works. It's working fine. Really nice. Good. Okay, go back into Figma. And then next one is community. Community is very close to the product. So we're going to duplicate the product and then we're going to use it to create a community. All right, so in the header section, inside here, make sure that this one duplicate. Okay, so we need to bring this down. And then we need to remove the item that we don't need. So we don't need this particular one. So click on yes. Over here, we don't need this one at the top. Click on yes. You know, when I was trying out the first design, I made that same mistake. I don't know why. I came back and I'm making the same mistake over here too. Right, I'm going to make sure that this one is to the top. And that is fine. Okay, so over here, we have to do this thing again. Community, so community resources. So go back into the header and then say community resources. All right, I really didn't want to type in what was there. Open developers panel. And I'm just going to make sure that I just copy this very one out. And let's paste it here. And as I said, you want to make sure that you break it down by holding Shift Enter. And that is good. We need to change the image too. So over here, there's the image that we are going to use. Just copy that, go into Figma, select this image, go to primary, and paste this right there. Didn't work. All right. So I just need to copy the link, go into our header, paste this over there, and that is good. Okay. Let's make sure we close that out. The next thing is live stream. Gonna copy that. I'm gonna paste that over here and then just break it down. The next line, the next then is educational. All right. Okay, education program and user groups. So let's do that first. Education program. And then user groups. I think the last one is what? Community creators. Okay, so community creators. All right, so that is that. We are able to do whatever that we need to do. All right, I'm just saving it and I'm checking it in the front again to make sure that we are on the right path. Okay, works fine. Looks good. Look good. Look good too. All right, so we just need to change this from product to, I think that is community. Okay, that is good. Next thing that we need to do is we need a login text, right? So click on pricing. You can just duplicate that. And then we're going to push this all the way to the back. Click on here and then just type in login. All right, so we've been able to do the items that we do have in this, on these items over here. We've been able to do everything. The next thing that we need to work on is the button. All right, so back into the header, we are going to select, if you select the nav item, right? And then you try to add a button. So there's a button. It won't be able to put it inside a nav item because it doesn't belong over there. The only thing that belongs in here are the element that you've seen us add over here, like the drop down and the nav link. So this item can be in the nav item, but we can put it within the nav itself. So we've added this in here. We just need to add some space. But before that, let's type in the word that we need. Get started free. I think that's the word, right? Get started for free. Okay, that is good. Let's add some padding and other stuff like that. So padding, let's do 14. And then over here, let's do 24 and 24. All right, so we do have like some good space. Let's go into design and go into border. And for border radius, we're going to give it 10 pixels. And let's add colors. So primary, and then go to colors. And over here, we are going to add a black color. Then for the text, we're going to add a white text. All right, that is good. Let's go back and click on nav. So one thing that you should understand is if you want to fix the layout in the nav, if you click on design and you go into layout and you try to change anything over here, nothing is going to work. Absolutely nothing is going to work because it is not over here. You can't do any changes via any of these items. So I'm going to show you where to make the changes. So select your nav icon, and then in the primary, you see that you do have settings over here and then you do have style. So the styling is where you need to make your changes. So when you click on the style, you do have show and styles. So what we are working on now is probably the body. And then we are telling it to show us only these items, the products, other stuff like that. If we click on all, everything that is within this is going to show us. We don't want that. So we're just going to click back on the nav, and we're just going to make sure that it is just visible to the ones that we are seeing right now. Let's close this and then click back on the nav, and then we're going to see these items. All right. So for these items, you see when you hover on container, the container is what the items they live in. So if I click on this, it's going to open more like an option panel for us. And then in the option panel, we can click on layout. And in here, we can do whatever that we need. So we can make it into a row, make sure that everything is centered. And then we can say that it can also be in the middle, or we can space in between. We can leave this one also alone. And then we can give this one a gap of, let's say, 46 pixels. And then we're going to save it. All right, so this is done. We do have our space in here, and we have created the Figma website menu. So let's go into the back end again, into our own thing, and then refresh, and then let's hover. So you can see this behind it. So what we are going to do is just come over here, click on our column, right? And then we are going to go into background, and for background, we can make sure that the background is white, and that is all that you need to do. So I think we have spent enough time on this. We're already close to an hour trying to finish everything over here. There's more that we can do. So in subsequent video, I'm going to do something more simple and something that we will be able to do, let's say, make it more responsive. You'll also be able to learn when it comes to making the mega menu more responsive using Cwicly. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, this is Obi Studios. You can also subscribe, and if you like the video, you can give it a thumbs up. My name is Nyakun. Thank you for watching.